WBF officials, Mr. Jim Lombardo. In the ring, holding the title belt, Mr. Alan Santana. This is also a promoter versus promoter event. Fighters are promoted by two of our co-promoters. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner and promoted by Mr. Greg Barkoff. He is wearing the white trunks. He weighed in at 144 pounds with 13 victories, 16 defeats, 1 draw, and a knockout. From Vero Beach, Florida, Classy, Chris Gray. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner and promoted by Shea Bailey. He is wearing the silver trunks. He weighed in at 143.5 pounds with a stellar record of 20 wins, only 3 defeats, 1 draw, 9 wins coming by way of knockout. From Gainesville, Georgia, Tyrese Hendrix. Referee Brian Sutts with final instruction.
Welcome back ringside. Vince Ferrara, Preston Halliburton. Excited to have our first of 2 title bouts for WBF belts. It's Tyrese Hendrix coming in at 23-1, weighed in 143.5 pounds. And Tyrese is in the silver trunks with the red gloves, taking on Classy Chris Gray, 13-16-1, weighed in at 144 pounds. Gray in the white trunks with the black trim and the red gloves. Both of these two boxers are very familiar for Georgia Boxing Championship fans here in Atlanta. Been a big part of it, and are here battling each other here tonight, and 2 ring veterans and 2 very good-looking boxers. And Preston, your early impressions of what you've seen early on?
Well, of course, Tyrese is filling his opponent out. He's a very explosive fighter. I don't know a lot about Chris Gray. Obviously, his record is, he's been around the sport. He's had a number of fights. I've noticed it looks like Chris Gray is wearing tennis shoes in the ring. I don't know. I've never seen boxing shoes like that. It's amazing.
That's a great observation as Hendrix sticks a left to the body. And Chris Gray has been in the ring against Paul the Truth Delgado and lost a majority decision to Paul Delgado back in December of 2010, of a year ago. He's been in the ring against some really good boxers, a lot of veterans as well. So Chris Gray has been around the block. This classic Chris Gray, originally from Baton Rouge.
Absolutely, but Tyrese is a seasoned professional fighter. He can get in there with anybody and hold his own. I expect to see Tyrese start to escalate the action in the middle rounds, and I think he'll win the fight.
Battle of the promoters as well is Classy Chris Gray, promoted by Greg Barkoff, of course, from Sports Fan Properties, together and putting this event together with Shea Bailey Promotions. Shea Bailey promoting Tyrese Hendrix as well. So a little bragging rights between Shea and Greg on the line here as well.
I've never seen that before. That's interesting.
And of course, Delgado Boxing, big part of the big rockout as well. You will see Paul Delgado in our main event tonight for the WBF North American welterweight title. But right now, Tyrese Hendrix's WBF North American lightweight title is on the line here in this 10-round, 144-pound bout.
It's a slow fight. I mean, you got a southpaw boxer against a right-handed counterpuncher. That can make for a very slow fight. Someone's going to have to initiate the action.
Well, I tell you, savvy is one way to describe Chris Gray. He not flashy, spectacular, but he just seems to kind of continue to hang around and find his way through. He shakes that shot straight down the chute from Tyrese Hendrix.
He does. He has an awkward stance. I don't see him getting caught with just a left hand walking in. It's going to be glancing blows.
Doesn't he use his shoulder really well?
Really well. He's what we call side out. He doesn't square up. He gives you very little hit, turns his side to you, almost a martial arts stance.
So who'd you give that first round to, Preston?
Well, Tyrese, I just sheer for the fact he was throwing punches. Chris was pawing a lot with a jab, but he didn't let the right hand go once. I didn't see it.
See the beautiful Tecate ring girls. So we're getting ready to move on to round number 2. 10-round title fight for the WBF North American lightweight title held by Tyrese Hendrix. And Tyrese actually in his last fight back in June lost a unanimous decision to Walter Estrada. Estrada 38-14-1. That was down in Tampa, Florida. Went the distance, lost that unanimous decision, but that title on the line tonight. I wonder how Tyrese will respond to a loss.
I know Tyrese. He's lost before. He understands. He'll take it and he'll learn from it and come back.
Of course, we mentioned he's been in the ring. We saw him against Jaime Del Cid at 200 Peachtree earlier in 2011. Second round TKO was very impressive there. And Tyrese charging in on classy Chris Gray in the white trunks, Tyrese Hendrix in the flashy silver trunks, both with the red gloves here early on. As you mentioned, Chris Gray in the white tennis shoes, Hendrix in the typical boxing shoes.
You know, I in college boxing, a couple of times I wore tennis shoes when I fought on a really slick surface. It, some reason, allowed me to dig in with one punches better.
Could there have been anything maybe with the
surface,
the mat, the surface, that maybe if there's not exchanging along the ropes, but if maybe there are some humps that he might have felt like he could keep his balance more with tennis shoes?
Oh, absolutely. It's a more sturdy shoe.
Right.
I mean, and when you've got an uneven surface, it might give him more stability. That could have been, that might be his reasoning. But they're definitely tennis shoes, though.
But could pressing that also slow you down if you're used to having a lighter boxing?
It's you're not running per se in the ring.
Right.
The boxing shoe is thin because a fighter needs to be able to dig his toes into the mat, use the mat as leverage to dig. That's why they say really dig into your shot. Right. Can't dig in a pair of tennis shoes when they're 2 inches off the actual mat.
Chris Gray just landed maybe his best combo, went over the top with a right and then came back with the left and hurt Hendrix, but maybe the cleanest combo we've seen from Chris Gray early on. We're in the second round of this 10-round title fight.
Chris is an awkward fighter, and Tyrese is trying to bait him into throw some punches. The only way he's going to hit Chris Gray is if Chris opens up.
Oh, and he staggers Hendrix. That's straight left. Staggers Chris Gray, moves back, but Hendrix wasn't able to follow up at all and still hasn't. Chris Gray backing up. Hendrix stalking him a little bit, but not doing it recklessly. And now Gray getting out of harm's way and sticks a jab, but blocked by Hendrix.
Vince, we've seen this all night. It's hard to tell whether or not someone's hit with a punch or they're stumbling on this ring surface.
Oh, nice shot. Double left jab and then came with a right by Hendrix. Hendrix continuing to stalk Gray.
I like the feints, the shoulder feints by Tyrese.
Nice strong right by Hendrix. Gray was able to get a break from our referee, Brian Stutz. And one last shot after the bell.
Good round.
And from Tyrese Hendrix. Who would you give that round to, Hendrix?
Give that round to Tyrese. Yep, Hendrix.
Yeah. So Tyrese Hendrix on Preston Halliburton's unofficial scorecard up 2 points, 2 rounds to none. We have a 10-round bout here tonight for the WBF North American Light Welterweight title still to come. Paul Delgado will defend his WBF North American Welterweight title in another 10-round bout against Ruben Galvan. Let's talk a little bit more about Tyrese Hendrix. You're familiar with Tyrese. He's been in the ring against some good boxers as well. 17-1-1 Ty Barnett. Henry Lundy was 17-0-1 at the time. Luis Bolano, veteran of 51 bouts, 41-10. Moises Pedroza, been in the ring against some good boxers early on in his career. Not, some of those guys weren't as impressive, but even Walter Estrada was a veteran of 53 fights. So Tyrese Hendrix when you see some of those names, what does that tell you?
Yeah, he's worthy of a real title shot. That's why he's here tonight. He's definitely, he hasn't had a cakewalk to the top.
Tyrese Hendrix mentioned 20-3 in his 23-1 in his 24-bout career, 9 knockouts, has never been knocked out as well. The southpaw 31-year-old Tyrese Hendrix, a.k.a. the head honcho, Gainesville, Georgia product, of course, not too far away here from Atlanta.
I'll tell you, he's looking great at 31, better than I saw him a couple of years ago. He's a little more seasoned now. Picks his shots a little better.
Chris Gray a little more wiry than Hendrix, and only a half-pound difference between the two. Hendrix, does he look frustrated at all by Gray backing out, or does he look like he's composed in there?
Honestly, I'm amazed at his ability to land on an awkward fighter like he is.
Right.
He is picking the perfect range. It's a mid-range. He's not all the way in, not all the way out. He's landing it right when he gets in range. Right there. It's a nice. Boxing's all about distance, and he's found that distance. It took him a little bit, but I think he's found the distance.
Does Chris Gray look like he is weary, and that shot connected that right as Gray was moving out connected, and that looping left from Hendrix, and the fans enjoy that.
Well, you know, the fight was much more exciting when Chris Gray was throwing some punches. It allowed Tyrese to capitalize on openings. However, you know, he's not throwing punches at this point.
And we almost saw referee Brian Stutz hit the deck as he was backing out hastily to try to get out of the way as Chris Gray had backed out, and Hendrix sticks a shot to the body, but maybe some of the surface catching our referee Brian Stutz, but able to show the balance, get out of the way, the quick feet from our referee, and Hendrix is back to work.
Both fighters in the center of the ring. Chris Gray with a little lazy jab lands.
Chris Gray keeping those hands up best he can. We haven't seen a whole lot of offense from classy Chris Gray, the Baton Rouge, Louisiana product, 13-16-1. Only 1 knockout in his career. Has been knocked out 3 different times. Gray in the white trunks, Hendrix in the silver trunks.
Gray's a very awkward fighter. It's difficult to land punches on him. I think Tyrese is doing the right thing, picking his shots, double and tripling his jab, and then coming with a straight left hand.
Gray tried to go to the body there, but Hendrix caught him, and one exchange there. And again, Hendrix sticks one close, if not slightly behind the bell. But would you give that?
Of Chris Gray, it's a very tight window there. Chris Gray comes out and throws a nice 1-2.
See if Chris Gray, who is behind as we start our 4th round and is retreating again, appears to be down 3-0 on Preston Halliburton's unofficial scorecard here at the Big Rock Out in this 10-round light welterweight title fight. WBF North American light welterweight title on the line here downtown Atlanta at the Georgia World Congress Center. Thomas Murphy Ballroom, Vince Ferrar and Preston Halliburton ringside. Appreciate you joining us. Got another title fight on the way in our main event. But right now, Tyrese Hendrix continuing to do work. Not overdoing it, but just picking his shots, Preston.
I tell you, Chris Gray is cagey. He is cagey. It's just difficult to land a solid punch on him, and then you make mistakes. That's what he's betting on.
Chris Gray, nice little combination there. Not really damaging punches, but at least scoring.
I like to see some lead left hands by Tyrese, straight left hands to lead with. Chris seems like he's timing the pawing jab and then the left hand, lead with the left hand right down the pipe before Chris gets his shoulder in position.
Tyrese Hendrix in a silver trunks, the southpaw. Can he do more work? Chris Gray seems to be regularly moving to his right with the southpaw. Could he walk into a left, a hook, or do you want to see him go straight up the middle for Hendrix?
You're talking about Chris's movement?
Yeah, Chris is moving right, and wouldn't that take him right into a left from
normally
Hendrix?
That conventional wisdom says that. However, Chris's stance is so what we call side out. He's giving you only a shoulder. it actually favors him moving to the right because he puts his shoulder in a better position to block the punch. That's what's allowing him to do that. If he actually moves to his right, he's going to open up his left shoulder if he moves the conventional way. You see, if he moves to the left, his shoulder opens up. If he moves to the right, he can hide behind that left shoulder.
Right. So if Hendrix maybe slides, connected clean there. And that might have been that left that you're looking for, that straight left. Is that what you were talking about?
I want to lead left hand. Use the left hand as a jab because Chris throws his shoulder up when the exchange is coming because he's looking for the left. But if he and the jab is landed for Tyrese, let's use that left hand as a lead punch before Chris's shoulder's up there. Right now, right there. Straight left hand.
Yeah. Connected there with the left, did Hendrix. Final seconds of this fourth round. Charge into each other, nothing really damaging on that exchange. And they continue to punch through the bell, and Hendrix pivots back to his corner.
I think that Chris Gray has got a pattern where he catches the jab and then rolls the left hand with his shoulder. If I were Tyrese, I would throw a straight left hand, mix the pattern up, then come back with a right hook. It would mix the pattern up a little bit.
And by doing that, he's just getting him out of a comfort zone. Is that what it is?
It lands a punch. You know, Mayweather throws a lot of lead right hands and uses it like a jab. He did that in his recent fight with Ortiz. But I'd like to see Tyrese do that here. I think it would mess up the rhythm of his opponent, who's really gotten into a pattern of catching the jab and rolling the left hand with his shoulder.
So would you give Hendrix that round also?
You give Hendrix round. It's Chris Gray's best round, but not enough to win the round.
Right. So that would put on Preston Halliburton's unofficial scorecard here ringside, put Hendrix up 4 rounds to none. If you're Chris Gray's corner, what would you tell them there in that in between rounds?
I tell him that he's doing a good job with a good fighter. I would just be a little more active with my right hands. I'd throw more right hands, lead right hands, looping right hands. Right there.
There's one. Yep. And he ate a left from Hendrix.
That's a nice punch.
Nice combination there from Hendrix.
Chris Gray can land a punch on Tyrese, but the problem is the price is way too much to pay to get countered.
You've seen Hendrix a lot. Maybe Gray isn't a good gauge on Hendrix's power, but talk about Hendrix's power ability.
Well, he has that explosive power that comes from speed, not necessarily raw mass or leverage, but explosive speed. Speed kills.
Hendrix sticking the jab. Paw from Gray, and then a nice combo from Hendrix in the silver trunks. Chris Gray in the white trunks, in the white tennis shoes in the middle of the ring now. Little combo from Gray, straight up the middle, and then Hendrix responds.
I like where Tyrese's head is right here. He's getting a little bit closer range and sitting down on some punches now to the body.
Yeah, and just as you said that, went downstairs, did Hendrix.
I like his range. He's starting to feel real comfortable in the pocket, and he's gonna unload something powerful here pretty soon.
Is Hendrix, with his body language, is he showing you that he's maybe not afraid of Chris Gray's power at all?
Absolutely. I think he's realizing that he's quick enough to to slip a lead punch by Chris.
We're in the 5th round of this 10-round light welterweight title bout for the WBF North American light welterweight title. It's all Tyrese Hendrix to this point. Over classy Chris Gray, veteran, who not really been hurt at any one point, but has been caught with a lot more than Chris Gray has been able to deliver back to Hendrix, as Hendrix continues to look very confident, Preston.
I enjoy watching Hendrix let his hands go. He looks really good when he lets his hands go.
And he's dropped him a little bit now.
And I think he realized that's the only way you can get Chris to throw a punch, is to almost bait him into throwing something.
Look at that Wonder Hendrix staying on his toes, on his back foot elevated a lot. When they're in the middle of the ring, it really lifts that back foot up. Wonder if that's, I noticed it the whole fight, but does that mean that he's trying to set something up by doing that? Or?
Well, he's trying to get Chris Gray to come attack him,
Okay.
but he doesn't want to be in such a retreat mode that he doesn't have his back foot planted and he's rolling backwards and backpedaling.
Right.
So he wants to retreat with a calculated retreat.
So you'd give that round also to Hendrix? Same thing?
It was I thought that was a pretty close round. I did. I saw some good punching out of Chris Gray, and I didn't think Tyrese landed as clean as shots that round. The body punches and all that, he started to move in. I liked his range, but I thought Chris Gray went on the offensive. But again, Tyrese won the round, but it was closer.